we both got up early. It was my first full week back at work after being on maternity leave. And John went out. I then got myself and the baby ready, took her to nursery and went into work. I'd probably been there about 5 minutes when a police officer turned up and asked me to go with them and said John had been attacked. We then went to the hospital, and that's where I was sat down and told the bad news.
My husband was murdered by the undercar booby trap bomb that the IRA had planted under his car. And that was the day that just shattered our lives completely. And he was 41 at the time, and I was 34. And my two sons, 13 and 14, and a daughter of 10.
He was in the OSD at the time, Operational Support Division, with a group, and they found a stolen car being driven, 2 guys in the front, 2 girls in the back, and it was chased. The pursuit was around Liverpool city centre. They stopped the car. My dad was first out, went over to the driver and tried to get the keys out of the car, and the passenger pulled him in, half in the car, and they drove off. And then my dad was flung from the car, and I believe then they reversed over him as well.
Andy just finished a 12-hour night shift. It was the 23rd of September 2005, and he got on his bike to come home, and minutes into his journey, he was in collision with a car, and he died at the scene.
Well, my girlfriend and her daughter and my daughter, we were on holiday in Portugal. We came back to the hotel, and I was aware that the lady behind the desk sort of signalled to my friend, but I paid no attention. I went on playing with the 2 girls, and my friend went over to the lady. And then I took the children out to the swimming pool, and we were just about to get in. And my friend said, "No, don't get in, we have to go to the bedroom. I have something dreadful to tell you." She said, "Carl has been killed in Newry."
I don't know, they seemed to go into automatic pilot, and that coupled with a numbness, as if it's surreal and it hasn't really happened.
I tried to get hold of Andy and I couldn't, and I just knew something was the matter. And I arrived home to find 2 very grim-faced traffic officers waiting for me when I got home, and that's when they told me.
For some reason I kept thinking it was only a minor incident and he wasn't really injured, and I expected that everything would be okay, when the reality was that he was already dead before I was able to get home.
When we arrived back in Belfast, we came up, but we just lived quite near the airport, and we came up and the coffin was just being wheeled in. So that was that. It was dreadful, dreadful. Well, he was only 19, you know, he was only a child.
They were only 3 and 4, so I had to tell them in the simplest way that I could that Daddy wasn't going to come home anymore. So that was very difficult.
She was only 11 months and she wouldn't have understood. But she's one of those children who seems to be born with the wisdom of an old lady. And I can't really pinpoint how, but there were certain points where I felt she sort of understood, obviously to a point, but that something had happened and Daddy wasn't there.
This was a crucial time in their lives. And I mean, the children were wonderful, and I suppose supported each other, and I in turn, and they supported me. And somehow we've got to where we are today.
National Police Memorial Day is an official day that annually honours the courage and commitment of almost 4,000 police officers killed throughout the United Kingdom. On average, 1 officer per month is lost, often in brutal circumstances. Their ultimate sacrifice is worthy of recognition with a dignified and sensitive service of remembrance. The service, which rotates around the United Kingdom in each successive year, is held on the nearest Sunday to St Michael's Day, the 29th of September. His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales agreed to be our patron, an indication of the magnitude of this long overdue day.
We were told about the National Police Memorial Day and asked if we would be interested in going along in the September, which we did. John's name was going to be read out and he was going to be honoured, and he was my husband and Maggie's dad, so we were going to be there to honour him.
I received a newsletter from my police federation from Memorial Day. I just didn't know it existed before I lost Andy, so I was grateful really to receive that, and we made a decision that we'd attend the next year.
I feel that it's very important that these officers are never forgotten. You know, I think it's very easy when these disasters happen that, you know, through years they just disappear from one's memory. But I feel that these services are really lovely, and you're with people, very many of them in the same position, and you know that everybody in that service feels for you or they wouldn't go.
Initially you are sad because all the memories come flooding back, and you know, you just realise exactly what's happened to so many others.
At the end of the day, nobody likes to think it's going to happen to them, but it happened to me, and I've had to live with the consequences, and it's only because of people like Joe who set up Police Memorial Day that's helped us as a family get through the trauma that we've experienced.
You're carried almost on this wave of surrealism, and then after the funeral and people sort of stop calling, and you're really left on your own to pick up the pieces and make sure that the family are okay and take second place yourself. Well, the first service was in St Paul's Cathedral, and I mean, it was just a wonderful event to realise that this was a day set aside for the whole country to remember and to just stop and think.
It was very sad. It was just very soon after it had happened, but it was also quite uplifting and beautiful, and it showed you as well that you weren't the only person in that position.
It's a very emotional day. I mean, it's so happy in a way because I've come to celebrate what Andy was, and I've come to see all my friends that I've made here and everything, but it's really sad as well, and you know, it is very emotional, but I'm so proud and I burst with pride, you know, to be able to be here on Andy's behalf, really.
Whilst me and my family and others like me, we don't need a particular day or memorial service or remembrance service to remember our loved ones, it's still wonderful that there is this day now set aside for the public and the wider police family at large to just stop and think and acknowledge the huge loss and the immense void that has been left in our lives.
As the widow of a fallen officer who has a young child who's lost her father, it's something that brings people together and remembers all those officers who gave their lives. And it's of great help for Maggie as well to sort of bring her into that family of people who care and people who know what she's going through.
They've all been really heart-lifting experiences, and beautiful buildings and beautiful music, and they're just lovely.
I think it was important for my little boys as well to realise that Daddy was going to be remembered. You have Remembrance Day for members of the armed forces, so it's just really nice that somebody has taken the time to set this up.
It doesn't matter what service they've got in, it doesn't matter how they were killed, how they died, but it's for them and they shouldn't be forgotten.
You come away from the service realising that you're not on your own, that you're one of many, and as each year passes you think, well, that's another year. And it is uplifting just to meet with people who have similar experiences and you know, meet up with new friends and make new friends and acquaintances. It's a real police family day, and it's wonderful to feel that surge of support, really.
We will remember them.
I felt that it was an important thing to remember officers who've obviously heroically made the ultimate sacrifice.
You know, it's nice to be always part of the police family.